Welcome everybody and New Zealanders that managed to sneak in to the Swedish Scientist presentation despite my best efforts at geo-blocking them. But look, it's awesome that you're all here today. It is an absolute thrill to have you here because I genuinely think that the promise is on the tin there. The key to $10,000 a month working 10 hours a week. And in some ways, this is going to be a pretty embarrassing presentation for me because genuinely, I really should have figured this out a lot earlier. But to my defense, all of this research has only just been published, so it's very, very, very new. And I genuinely believe this is a huge breakthrough. I mean, if you haven't really started, I believe this is the key differential between you trying something, going at it, using your best efforts for 6 to 8 weeks, but then it just doesn't work or you hit a roadblock and you get stuck, and $10,000 a month by the end of the year. I genuinely believe that. And I think if you've started, but you're not at that $10,000 a month level yet, this here is the key difference for getting you there because it's the tweaks that you need. And then if you're here and you're earning over, and there's definitely a couple of you on the call that are earning over $10,000 already, then what this is about increasing the fun, increasing the effectiveness, and understanding how to leverage you to that next step. And I'm absolutely convinced, and I will present my case to you as to why that is as we go through this webinar. So let's check in there and let's see. So how does that sound to you? $10,000, which is approximately 35 million New Zealand dollars. What would you do with is it $10,000 an hour? Let me ask you this very specific question: is $10,000 an hour? That'd be nice. I'd like getting that myself. But seriously, $10,000 a month, does that make a big difference? Randy says, I would be absolutely happy with 9,900. You're absolutely right, Randy. It's, as I once heard, I forget who it was who said it, $10,000 a month, you can't live on it, but it's a start, right? It's really, it really does, I think, is a key difference. Brad's, oh my God, awesome. Yeah, totally. Right? This is the thing, and look, I want you to be able to get the most out of this presentation today. So how would you like because I want you to focus and be able to, take notes, but I speak A, Australian, and B, pretty quickly. So would you guys be interested in the audio and the slides from this presentation? Just let me know in the chat box. Dennis, while you're doing that, fantastic. Dennis, woof, look at that. Okay, that is awesome. Please remind me when we get to the Q&A section so that I remember, because I forgot the other the last presentation. So that would be, just remind me and I'll put up the link in the Q&A. Fantastic. That is great. So if you don't know who I am, I hate CV introductions and they really bore me. I usually say I'm a simple country boy from Beechworth in Victoria in Australia. But really my whole career has been about helping people who are stuck starting an online business, get it designed, get it built, get them making $10,000 a month. I created the challenge. We've had over 400,000 people go through that. Made $6 million over the last few years with Magcast and Scriptcast, and made 10,000 people earning an average of $3,000 a month with their Magcast. All of these things have been awesome, but they mean diddly squat in my humble opinion unless you can actually implement it. Oh, and congratulations on being the world's top 30 internet marketers. That's a new one, Arthur. I had no idea. I'd like to thank my family and the Academy for that honour. So I think well, we've done that. That's great. I think the thing that when I take you through this breakthrough, my idea is to show you this difference and to make sure you've got it and engage it. So we are going to have a Q&A session. So at the end, so any questions, anything that you want to ask, no problemo. Now, I did already mention that Australian accent, talk fast. I have a sense of humour. I like having fun, but believe it or not, unbelievably, 15% of people, 15% of you on this very call, including the New Zealanders, probably don't find my jokes funny, right? So I apologise in advance, but hey, stick around for the content, not the jokes. Okay, so hopefully that's all right. Now, I'm a consummate professional, folks, and my deal here has been to, I try to cater for every audience. So I've actually not prepared one presentation here. I have presented 2 presentations. And as part of the interactivity in this, because that's what I'm all about, interactivity, I want to give you the choice. So option A is the Mary Kate and Ashley. That's it. Get it right. The Mary Kate and Ashley Full House era presentation. So it's going to be friendly. It's going to be it's going to be non-offensive in any way. Mark, who's still up in Zurich, may not make it through the rest of the presentation, but there'll be nobody offended. Okay, that's the promise with the option A webinar. Or of course, we can go the Mary Kate and Ashley, we've seen some stuff. We've seen, we've done some stuff. We've seen some stuff, right? It's probably going to be offensive, not in a sweary way. I don't like sweary stuff, but it will be controversial. It will be, it will be, like I said, look at the girls there. They've grown up. They've seen some things. They got that 1,000-eye stare. So what do you want, folks? I want to hear option A or option B. Just let me know in the chat box, because I am the consummate professional. A or B? I wish you could see this. My screen has exploded in B's. You filthy, filthy people. Oh no, there's one option A. Sorry, you've been outvoted. All right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring the rock, and we are going to keep this going. So that is awesome. Now, the other thing that before we kick off, the other thing I want to ask is, at the last 10 minutes, we're going to go for about an hour here. I want to show you something that's going to help you get the results I'm about to teach you faster. Okay, I hate going into a webinar and you're thinking, what's the catch? What's the catch here? I'm going to present everything I can. You are not going to be left wanting. You guys know me. But I just wanted to get permission from you guys 10 minutes at the end to show you a way to get your results faster. Is that okay? I just want to check. If you could just let me know in the chat box. No, Ed, you're a scumbag. That I just made that up. That was kidding. Thanks. Thank you. Excellent. That is awesome. First of all, I must tell you, you may find this very hard to believe that I enjoy show and tell at school. I was a bit of a gun at show and tell. Before there was PowerPoint, because computers didn't exist when I was at primary school, I would often do placard presentations or draw models on the chalkboard. I was a big fan of it. But in grade 2, I came back from my summer holidays. I grew up poor, very poor. I grew up in a trailer park. Not a sob story, I might add. Loved it. Actually, thought it was fun and didn't feel I was missing out or any of those sorts of things. So it was great. But I came back from this holiday and here I was ready to present my, things I'd learnt at the, the Dungeons and Dragons gaming conference of 1984. And Vaughan Smith was ahead of me. And Vaughan Smith had been to Disneyland. And So that was it. I was blown out the water. Because you got to understand, Beechworth, Victoria, we had one commercial TV channel, one radio station, and one newspaper called, as my late grandmother used to call it, the 2-minute silence. Right, it was crazy. So Disneyland was like the moon. I remember watching the Epcot Center opening and thinking, wow, this place is just amazing. So I was blown out of the water, and I was always very bitter. And so it was my mission in life to ensure my daughters never suffered the indignity of having a Vaughn Smith type character in their life do the Disneyland presentation. So I took them to every Disneyland in 1 year. We went to Japan, Hong Kong, Paris, and both American parks in the 1 year to ensure that they never had that. So that's awesome. And this is the part of the presentation where, I should be telling you how awesome I am. But sadly, the path to this discovery that I'm going to show you was incredibly, incredibly painful. And it's not something I've talked about. For I know there's a lot of friends here on the on the call. This is going to be news to them. But like I said, I grew up in Beechworth. No, nothing sad. But and everybody talks about their successes. I've had to start from scratch 3 times in my life. Some of you may know that in 2007, I was fortunate to sell a couple of businesses, made millions of dollars, had $12 million invested with a broker who is now in jail. But unfortunately, that doesn't bring the money back. That was a bit of a trauma. And actually, what you may not know is after that, there was a hell of a lot of litigation. And it got to the point where I was actually made a bankrupt. And it was nothing to do with the business, nothing to do with what I was doing with you guys or teaching. It was dreadful. And, and this sounds horrible in saying this, but, if you've lived well, like I said, taking the girls to every single Disneyland in 1 year, if everything's taken away from you and, the shame and the, and the pride of, of having all of that taken away, my wife, having to sell houses that she earned by herself, had nothing to do with this, to pay legal fees, was just crazy. Begging my kids' school to keep them in and not kick them out. It was bad. And I, I had to start from scratch again. And I tell you what, you discover who your true friends are. But let me tell you, it was my pride that was my downfall. I was diagnosed with depression. I'm still on medication for that. And boy, has that been absolutely magnificent. It really has made a huge difference in my life. And I didn't want to speak to anybody. I couldn't travel. I just felt hopeless, But the good thing about having crashed and burned 3 times and recovered is that I realised, while you're still breathing, you've got a chance. Actually, interestingly, I did the Beyond Blue. There's a great organisation in Australia, which is called Beyond Blue, which helps people with anxiety and depression. And if you've ever thought that you might be suffering from that, it's a brilliant website to go and check out. I did the survey, and basically it said, look, I should be hospitalised, because I'd be suicidal, and that's insane. I just have, my self-worth in myself. Oh my goodness. I believe I have gifts to deliver to everybody in this planet. So that was never going to happen. But it was a shocker, and that is a thing. And thank you, Paul, for your kind words. It's a lot of people don't talk about this. People talk about all the good stuff, but they never talk about that. But anyway, the point, I listened to a Brene Brown, it wasn't a book, it was a seminar she did, and it was about vulnerability. And let me tell you, vulnerability-wise, I'm not vulnerable. I don't like the idea of vulnerability. I don't like doing this, right? I don't like doing this part, but I think it's important, because to understand the breakthrough, I think you have to understand where it is. And I suspect more than a few of you can empathize with this situation, as I'm seeing in the chat. And anyway, so I thought, okay, I'm going to practice this, because for goodness sake, I'm the guy who taught the Russell Brunsons, the Todd Browns, the you name the guru, Andre Chaperon, all the So I'm not reaching out for help for people. I'm the one that taught everybody else. Are you serious? But that was pride talking, and I was. This is when you see this happen, it's bad. So anyway, I was speaking to and some of you may know him. I was having breakfast up in Brisbane. I remember vividly, and I was telling Sarkis about who was a student of mine, long-term student. Hi, if you're on the call, mate. And he did me a huge favour. He taught me about this Colby test. And I hate tests. The whole concept of an IQ test is, I'm terrified. I've never had an IQ test. I'm terrified at the results. But anyway, he suggested this was something I should do. And I took the hotel test, the test in my hotel, and I thought, wow, this is somebody who understands me. And there's this forehead slapping moment of working on my strengths. I thought this was the missing link. And so I got together a couple of 100 challenges to go through and take this test, and we did this study, and it was amazing the results that came out of it. The understanding entrepreneurial operating systems, and by the way, that's not what we're talking about today, or indeed Kanban, which was another thing that came out of this process. It was an incredible thing to go through. Why organizationally people don't work. How many of you on this call have met a productivity system or an organization system that you haven't loved and then abandoned 3 weeks later, right? There's a reason for that. Entrepreneur, there's a reason for that. So this was it. I thought, brilliant, I've discovered it, I've nailed it. Everybody is now going to be successful, because that's what I was about. This is brilliant, right? This is where we want to be. Unfortunately, not quite. Not quite. It was still, it was better. It was better, and definitely, people have had results. I'm seeing in the chat window, people are saying, I love the Kanban, I love EOS, and yeah, I'm totally with you. But there was it still wasn't. Why is it that as an industry, we are satisfied with 5%? A course, if we publish a course and 5% of people successfully complete that course, it's considered a miracle. It's considered a miracle, right? The biggest that I've ever seen was Magcast, right? The 30% of people published a magazine who bought that course. 30%, unheard of figures. Doesn't that, be crazy, right? Doesn't that be, isn't that, insane? And I thought there's got to be a better way. And I had a look, and I read this book by this Swedish scientist. And the guy actually is most famous for his 10,000 hour rule. And Malcolm Gladwell was the guy who popularized that. And ironically, as you'll learn later, not what the 10,000 hour rule was all about. But this guy spent his entire life studying peak performance. Now, I know this is going to be a shock to quite a few of you right now, but when it comes to peak performance, I don't think, I don't consider myself, my body is a temple, but a slovenly temple. It's a very messy temple. It's got a lot of Tim Tam packets around it, right? It's, but so peak performance, I don't necessarily come to, and but these new studies were mind-blowing. And one of the key things was looking at, how you go about achieving peak performance, and these insights were mind-blowing. I started applying them to myself, and started to get and it was made my recovery was so fast that it's ridiculous, because I was able to reach out, I was able to take advantage of these things, be open to be coached, instead of being full of pride and thinking, yeah, I can do all of this myself, right? That's where I get, that's what happened. And so now this is what I want to share with you. I want to share with you the missing link. Okay, so where are we at the moment? I'm tipping that quite a few of you on the call are, when we're doing our courses, or we've got our course, we've got our thing, there's this nagging, I don't know what to do element. I'm not sure what I need to do right now, right? And even if you're sort of knowing what you're doing, then you're sort of going, but am I on the right path? Do I, is this the right way to go? And then even if you are, you think you know what to do, you think you're on the right path, then you're wondering, but am I doing it right? Am I executing this properly? I have no idea. And what does that give you? That gives you uncertainty, and that gives you fear. Where we want to be is imagine a world where we knew exactly what we needed to do, right? We knew exactly what we needed to do, and we knew that we were on the right path, and we knew we were doing it right. We had certainty. That's where we want to be. And that is where, and if you think about, okay, who have those characteristics, know exactly what they need to do, know that they're on the right path, know that what they're doing is absolutely correct, right? And are at the peak of their particular niche. And that is it, peak performers, right? How do they get results, right? Who are the peak performers? And this is where our 10 violinists come in, and this is where our Swedish scientist, Anders Ericsson, comes into it. Anders has spent his entire life studying peak performance and what makes people successful, and indeed how people practice that makes them successful. And his discoveries have been nothing short of stunning. So let me hit you up with a few hits, right, straight off the bat. The first thing that he absolutely proved without a shadow of a doubt is there is no such thing as somebody being gifted. No such thing. Our man Mozart is pictured here, and he is probably the most famous child prodigy of all time, right? So our main man here, wrote his first symphony at 6, and when people think child prodigy, they think Mozart. Well, here's the thing. Do you know who Mozart's dad was? Turns out Mozart's dad was literally the best music teacher in all of Europe. People came to learn pianoforte from Mozart's dad from all over Europe, not the planet, all over Europe to get taught by Mozart's dad. He and his sister were literally, from the time they were born into a household with the best music teacher in Europe. So do you think that might be something? And by the way, his sister was just as talented, but unfortunately, 1700s, not so progressive. But that was one thing. The second thing is when you, and I had to study, little known facts about Ed. I'm actually a trained arranger. I got the highest level of qualification. I can conduct and arrange music for orchestras. They had the issue that they had was, look, and his first symphonies sucked. They were just not that good. They were terrible. It wasn't until the symphonies that were in his 20s, all the ones that we know today, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, and all those were done after he had done many, many attempts at training, right? So that is the first thing that smashed it. There is no such thing as a gift. None, right? It's all about practice, and you may be born into great circumstance, just like Mozart was, having his father be literally the best music teacher in Europe, but there's no thing, and indeed it's been comprehensively proved by the studies of Anders Ericsson, looking at, frankly, Mozart sucks a little bit compared to our little Suzuki students of today. They are, and indeed my daughter is one of them. She just literally yesterday went for her grade 6 exam, and she's at 10. Most people do their grade 6 exam at 18. So, that was just one thing. Here's the other thing he realized. What happens with people and what the difference between peak performers and people who dropped out and didn't fulfill what they were going to do was the people who were at their peak realized that they were not comparing themselves to the experts in their industry today. They were comparing them where they were. So let me translate this for you. Richard Branson, awesome dude. We all want to be Richard when we grow up. 400 companies that he's involved in, has an extraordinary life, have all different things. It's just, he's held up as the model. Yet, unfortunately, what so many people who do the challenge do is that they compare Richard Branson's last dollar with them making their first dollar. What do I mean? Here's the thing. Let's look at how Richard Branson earned his first dollar. His first dollar, it took him some time, as it turns out. His first business venture was when he created a student magazine at the age of 16. Got to start bright and early, and he did that for 4 years. Did not make a zack. Indeed, his parents had to bail him out. He had a lot of fun, make no mistake, but he did not make a penny or a pound, to be absolutely accurate. So his next venture was starting a record store. Now, it took 2 years for that record store to make money, and so he made his first pound after a couple of years. But unfortunately, the way he did that was he was importing records without paying the appropriate tax, and he had to spend a day in jail. And he recognised that was the wrong thing, and he went on. He went on to incredible things, right? I'm not bagging Richard Branson for 1 second, but here's the deal. It took him 6 years to make his first dollar, or technically pound. Yet we're all here, and so many of us are thinking, oh, we didn't make $1, or we haven't made $1,000, or we haven't made $10,000, because look at all of these amazing internet marketers who made $100,000, $200,000 a month, blah, 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 $1 million days, blah, 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 right? You need to be comparing yourself right now with the way they made their first dollar, because if you compare yourself at the appropriate level, then that's realistic. Then you can improve, you can stretch, and you will improve all of the elements of what you do. This one is a mind blower. So this is where the violinists come into it. And there's the amazing YouTube sensation, Lindsay Sterling there, getting into it. Now, what Anders did was he did a study with the Berlin Symphony Orchestra, and he was looking at the first violinists and the second violinists. Now, if you happen to have any violinists in the family like I do, you know that the politics of whether you're first violinist or second violinist is immense. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but in the orchestra, right, if you look at it in the orchestra and the way that they're sat, the people who are sat at the front towards the audience, the closer you are to the conductor, the better you are. You are literally ranked. So those poor buggers that are sitting at the back of the orchestra in the violin section are, inverted commas, the worst violinists, right, for that section. And then there's first violinists, and then the second violinists are a few desks over to the side, right? So there's an absolute hierarchy here, as my daughter will tell you. Now, so his hypothesis was, of course, the first violinists worked, trained, practiced harder, right? No, wrong. Completely wrong. It turns out the first violinists practiced way less right now, as they exist now, than the second violinists. It was the way they practiced, the way they trained, made all the difference, and they were able to train for a lot less time. Isn't that crazy, right? Now, let me just stop and check in with you guys for a second here, and I'll have a swig of water. What was in this first section here of insights, what insight have you got from what I've been talking about so far? And I will have a little sip of water here. Yvonne says, "Oh, Frank Kern makes it look easy, but not so." Look, Frank, I worked with for years, and but he works at it. He absolutely works at it. No such thing as gifted. Blew me away. Work smarter, not harder. Compare self to self. Growth. All is not what you think. Comparisons. Apples to oranges. That is so good. Self-nurture, not necessarily nature. We're basing decisions on what we think and are led to believe rather than facts. You're absolutely right, Michael. It's absolutely the absolute case. Ben says, "Well, what about the 4-hour week?" And he said, "Look, and Tim will be the first person. Speaking of, Tim, will be the first person to point out that 4 hours is a concept. It's not it's a great mind experiment, and it's brilliant, genius. But the reality is not that. And hey, you can get to a 4-hour week. I think you can get to a $10,000 a month, 10-hour a week. Absolutely, you can do that. But guess what? Not tomorrow. Not your first day. It's like saying, hey, I think I'm going to start running. Okay, well, enter the London Marathon tomorrow. Crazy stuff. All right, one more swig and let's keep going. Because would you be interested in knowing what the first violinists did that were different and how you can apply that to you and your business right now? In fact, while you're typing that, excellent, loving it, good, that's great. Let me tell you right now. Let's take a poll. So where are you on the certainty scale? So right now, and thinking about your business. So a 1 is I really am not sure. I have no direction. I have no clue. I have no idea. I'm barely aware of why I'm on the webinar. And welcome if you are here and you're totally beginning. This is a great place to be. Or 10, I'm absolutely certain. That is I'm absolutely locked on. I know exactly what I'm doing every hour of the day. Know all of this. So give us your ratings here, and I'm not going to read them out, by the way. Just pop them in there. Oh, Michael, thank you. Great way to. I love this, and actually, this is part of the spoiler alert. This is part of the story here. Somebody put in a percentage. Good on you. Bless you. I bet you're a high fact finder. All right. Woohoo! Okay, here we go. Let's break this down. And this may seem absolutely obvious to you once I've put this out, but the first secret is squad power. Now, you may absolutely agree that the only reason I have put this slide in is so I can have a photo of Taylor Swift and my squad in the presentation, and you'd be absolutely right. Love Taylor Swift, or let's face it, as I call her, Tay-Tay. She is fantastic. But squads are crucial. Think about this for a second. When you learnt anything, if you went into, think about peak performers. Think about Usain Bolt. Think about, the great chess grandmasters, right? You think about all these solitary pursuits, ice skaters, dancers, you name it, musicians, right? Oh, they all train individually. Wrong. One of the key things about peak performers is that they all have squads. They train in squads, right? And there's a whole bunch of reasons for this, right? Usain Bolt, if you've ever seen him train, he trains and most of the Jamaican sprinters, and they're all intense competitors, but they all train together, right? And, somebody mentioned John Reese and Frank Kern a bit earlier on. Well, talk about squads, and this is in August of 2003. A bunch of people who were not Frank Kern and John Reese and Ed Dale, 12 people, were all paid $3,000 each to be in a room in San Francisco, right? Let me tell you the attendees. Completely did not know each other, had no track record, nothing. These were the people in the room. John Reese, Frank Kern, Ed Dale, Jeff Walker, Yannick Silver, Andy Jenkins, Mike Filsane. Right? Hello. What? And, we became great friends and we had our squad. Right? That was our squad. Yeah, Shane's going, now that's a room. But we weren't. That was before John was John, Frank was Frank, Ed was Ed. It was before all of that. Right? We had a squad. And when you think about, now just think about what you're asked to do right now. If there's the biggest negative of this business is right now, wherever you are on the planet, and we've got people from all over the world here, it's you in front of a computer. You're listening to this crazy, insane Australian, probably with some headphones on, in front of your computer or on a phone somewhere, right? So we're isolated, right? So quite the opposite of squad. And then when you look at, some of you may have tried, I did this survey the last time I did the presentation. Let me just check. Have you ever been in a mastermind group from hell where it could have a couple of characteristics? One is that there is an alpha male or female that just won't shut up and is often talking out of their ass and just totally dominates the conversation, or there's an Eeyore in the mastermind. Woe is me. Oh, that's terrible. Everything's terrible. Nothing works. Just terrible. Everything's terrible. Right? Or have we got the blind leading the blind? Austin's asking, anyone live here or is this just recorded? What a horrible state of our industry that somebody has to go onto a webinar and say, hey, is this live or is this just a recording? Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? But no, Austin, for your personal benefit, yes, this is live. Now, have you ever been in a mastermind group like that? Oh my goodness, look at this. We're lighting up. We are lighting up. This is a recording. Ed will call you out though, yeah, because I've got this is actually artificial intelligence. Well, nobody ever attained the word intelligence with anything that I had to do. But there's no accountability. Here's the other reason for squads, right? Yes, I just say banana. Stop it, you people. Stop it. Okay, frustration. Right? Frustration is the problem. And when you don't have a squad, there's no accountability. There's that level of competition, right? Is actually a really important part of why peak performers train in squads, even when they're intense competitors in singular fields. Now, the opposite of this is when you feel you belong to a tribe. When you're in a squad and when you're in the, when you're in somewhere where you are helpful, are you helped and everybody's adding into the conversation, it feels awesome, right? It's also got to be a bit guided, right? You need that, level, and this is what peak perform, Andres pointed out, is that peak performers, they have a guide, they have a coach, they have somebody. And he realized that, we often equate keeping up with the Joneses as quite a negative concept. But it actually, when you are training, when you are trying to achieve something, keeping up with the Joneses, if you're all trying, have you ever been in oh God, I made this mistake. This is years ago. We did it, classic New Year's Eve. Okay, we're all going to put $1,000 into a pot. And whoever's lost the most weight by March 30 will get the $1,000 from everybody, right? Have you ever done something like this? Maybe not $1,000, but ever done that? Boy, do people get motivated. And of course, what we didn't know was one of the dudes in this thing was like a former wrestler. And those guys know how to drop weight at the bottom of Austin saying I won that grand. Were you a wrestler? Don't do this bet with a wrestler or somebody who's done boxing who knows how to cut weight. That was a mistake. But anyway, I digress. But that's why we need the squad. So that was one of the elements that squads are a big point. Now, here's the next part of this. The missing link. Okay, so what are the elements that peak performers absolutely must have? To be peak performers, what are the absolute key elements? First of all, you have to know where you're going, right? Know where you're going. But not just, we're not talking about goals or the secret and I'm manifesting myself a Lamborghini. I promise no Lamborghinis. Wow, you can lease a Lamborghini. You're so good. Well done. That's probably a recorded webinar. Now, here we go. Know where it's going. So you know step by step. So hear this. Hang on. Here's a bit of Foley for you. Hear that? That's my post-it note. So when I do my critical focus time, that is the very next thing that I am going to be doing. Okay, so that's what I mean. Literally step by step. You know, do you think Usain Bolt just rocks up to his practice session and just, you know, in his chilled way, oh, Mon, what are we going to do today? And, you know, spend 15, 20 minutes just thinking about how he's going to practice? No, that is not what happens, right? He knows exactly what he needs to do because he's got a coach, he's got guidance, he's got his squad, and they know exactly what they need to do to train to peak for the goal that they have, right? Same with violin. Imagine walking into a room and, you know, you just have to, like, you've got a violin in the room. And this actually relates to this point here. Develop skills people have figured out, right? You need... so if you go into a room and sitting in this white room is a violin, a bow, and a book called How to Learn Violin, right? Now, some people, there's no question, right, that some people, out of 100 people, 1 or 2 will actually learn the violin that way, and they'll do it. But here's the thing. The peak performers, all the people in the Berlin Symphony Orchestra, were not self-taught. Newsflash. They are unicorns, okay? Self-taught, and they do exist, and we often celebrate them in our society. But you know what, folks? I'm a big fan of teaching for the 99%, not the 1%. And the 1% have got... Imagine, here's a surfboard. There's the waves. Knock yourself out. See you at the World Championships. Well, knock yourself out is probably very accurate. Drown is probably the next thing that's super accurate. Right? That makes absolute sense. But develop skills. You have to follow a path. You have to follow a proven path. And that practice regime is overseen by a coach who's familiar with expert performers. And so, and they understand how your abilities can be best developed. Now, stop. I know what you're thinking. Right now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Ed. Is this going to be some sort of coachy thing? Are you going to sell us? Because coaching, I get this so far, but Ed, are you going to sell some sort of coaching thing? Please stay, because you're absolutely right. Coaching is freaking expensive, right? It's ridiculously expensive. But stay, because I promise you, I love theatre. Okay, so stay with me, but let's keep focused. Okay. Comfort zones. You need to be pushed out of your comfort zones. You need to be pushed out of your comfort zone. To improve, you need, if I go to the gym, I pick up the 2-pound weight, bust out 10 bicep curls. Oh, that was woof. Okay, that was me getting out of my comfort zone. Right? Get out of my comfort zone. That's not how. If you have a personal trainer, you all of a sudden discover, when you say what effort are you putting in, and they say, put in a 10 effort, 10 effort is completely different when you are A, in a group of people, or B, having somebody there looking over and say, come on, you can do more than that, one more, and you can usually do one more, right? But the challenge is also, unfortunately, what we do is we drop you in with a course and we say, go on, there's the course, off you go. And we don't, it could be, there's a huge difference between stretching and snapping. You need to be stretched, right? But a lot of us snap, particularly when it comes to technology, particularly when it comes to things that are completely outside of our comfort zone, people don't get that, right? It is absolutely the case. So, they have specific goals, not overall goals. There's goals are set and on with a plan, which are a series of small steps that add up to a larger change. So you can see the improvement. Okay, so you can absolutely see the improvement. Spoiler alert, you need feedback from a coach. And this to me, and I'd love to get your feedback onto this. Ready for this? This slide is key. Okay, you ready for this next one? It is absolutely key, and I want your reaction. The earlier in the process you are, the more important the coach is. We all, did you learn an instrument? You needed a teacher to learn the instrument. Did you play football? You had a coach. You didn't just rock up and there was a field, you were on the field, they threw the ball in the middle and you put, the thing and say, okay, let's all play football. Woo, let's do it. Yet, what are we expecting you guys to do with all these courses and all this training and all of this stuff? And I have been as guilty as everybody else. Right? Here's the course, go do it. Here's the surfing DVD, go surf. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And this has been an absolute forehead slapping moment. Yvonne, absolutely right. Tell me early so that I don't waste my precious time. So you don't all have all the bad habits to undo and wasted money. We've done, Arthur's saying, we've done considerable research on work groups and work gamification. Feedback is key to progress in every case. Exactly. Why aren't you making $10,000 a month? Whereas that is every niche on the planet is a $10,000 a month business. It is. But why aren't you there? Why is only 3% of people? Because these are the 3% of people that somehow claw themselves out of this process or have been lucky enough to be able to pay $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 for training. Donovan says here, and you are absolutely right, is that why I've started the challenge 3 times and not completed it? It is absolutely the case. Now, here's a story. People forget this in the annals of time, and it was when I was doing the research for this presentation, I remembered the reason I started the challenge 12 years ago, this month, or next month to be exact. The reason I did was that Frank Kern, who we all know and love, I was working with him with the underachiever and overachiever system, and his daughter was born, young Ava, who's literally just turned 12. Happy birthday, Ava. It was literally a couple of days ago. And he was taking a couple of months off to be at home with the family. And so I was I just sold all my publishing little ebooks for $5 million, which was pretty awesome. And one thing we forgot to teach with the underachiever system, right? The thing that we forgot with the underachiever system is to teach the power of team. Because when I started my ebooks, we had a little group of us that met every single week in the State Library here in Melbourne, right? And we created our ebooks together. And it was funny because there was that competition. There was that squad element. We didn't have a coach, but there was this squad element. And Austin said, I bought the underachiever method. It was a fantastic piece of gear. And so many people got their start. Russell Brunson, Todd Brown, who else? Ryan Levesque. All of these people all got their start in underachiever and the challenge. I was just at Todd Brown's event. All of these things. So this is a huge thing. So here's the thing that I want to absolutely ask you. Do you think that this would work for you? Now, I know you've got to park the See, here's the thing. You have been bred. It's in your bones that any form of mentoring, for goodness sake, if you sign up as a one-on-one client for me, it's $10,000, right? That's what we're trained to do, right? Makes sense. So do you think, based on what I've taught so far, Do you think this could be the difference? Do you think, put all the money and pricing and everything aside for a moment, okay? Just, could this be the difference? Does it make sense to you as it was a forehead slapping moment for me? 100%. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. This is key. Right? Yeah. Kamala, yes. A game changer, says Shane. Yes, yes, yes. 1,000 times yes, says Donovan. Mary, yes. Cara, yes. Definitely, she says. Right. So, that's awesome. So, now, let me check in. How many of you are excited about what I just presented? But also let me know if you're feeling overwhelmed, because we have covered a whole bunch. So let me know, excited, overwhelmed at this point. While I have a subtle sip of water. Both parts on the floor excited. That's what I like to see. Both. Good. Okay. All right. Very good. Heard it before, but did not do it before. So true. So true. Okay. So, is it okay if we spend 10 minutes going over something that I've created for you guys? So, I just want to spend 10 minutes here. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. That is wonderful. Because, this, after going through what I went through with the bankruptcy and causing untold stress to my family and all these sorts of things, it took all of that to sit me on my ass and realize that the thing that I do best and the thing that I want to do is I want to work with people to get them up to I want to work with beginners. I want to work with people who are going from scratch, or they're making a few thousand, they want to make from 10,000, or they're making 10,000 and they want to have a lifestyle that's appropriate for it. So what I've done is I've created Niche Style Academy, and I'm so thrilled. This is going to be my day job, people. This is what I'm not going to be doing. I'm not going to be doing any more one-on-one $10,000 mentoring. I'm not going to do it. Right? I could absolutely do it and make a comfortable living, but it's not what I love doing. Right? And I also believe that group-based approaches are far superior to one-on-one, but I'll explain that in a minute. So why did I design this? I designed it because I think if we could apply the rules of peak performance to people who are starting an online business, people would be incredibly more successful. They'd have a squad, they'd have a coach, they'd have all the elements. And when you think about it just for a second, it's insane that we are sent out with these courses, and we may have great training. In fact, I've just done a 6-week training, and that was awesome because part of that training was every week I was on calls with people, which was fantastic. But what happens after the calls stop? Right? This is not right. This is not. This is This is a 365 days a year. Look, I should say, and look, there's good old Todd Brown invited me to his conference. As many of you know, I worked with Frank for many years, and actually Russell Brunson's latest book, which by the way is a barn burner. It's an amazing book. This is a passage from the book where he says he learnt the Ask campaign from two of my early mentors, Frank Kern and Ed Dale. It occurred to me, and I was at this, it was embarrassing, at this Todd Brown gathering where he invited the 50 top internet marketers on the planet all into the one room to have a look at his new methodology, which is just fantastic. And he, he introduced me, and people gave me a standing ovation. It was just because I didn't realize I'd helped so many of them start, which is just fantastic. That's where I want to be. I want to work with people that are starting out, that are making less than $10,000 a month, and if they're making more, they want to create a lifestyle business. This is not for, if you want to create the next unicorn, the next Instagram, the next Facebook, bless you. That's awesome. But this is not, Niche Style Academy is not for you. Okay. If you're a millennial with plenty of time and no commitments and you want to hustle yourself to death, I love you. I did it. This is not for you. Okay. Because this is about creating a life. For most of us, we've got commitments right now and we want to transition into our own business, right? This is who it's for, okay? I just want to be absolutely clear that this is absolutely who it's for and who it's not for. Now, let's just address the elephant in the room. Right? Coaching is wicked expensive. Let me just get you, right? Let me just get you to just pop in just what you believe coaching in the internet marketing world costs. Okay, right now from what you've seen and what you've heard. Just throw in some numbers there in the chat while I take the advantage of grabbing a glass of water here. 25,000, 15,000, minimum $500 a month, 25,000, 10,000, 5,000 a month, 2,000 a month. Jonathan says it's a joke. Right? Absolutely. If you look at what's available, so it's out of their league, right? Well, stick around. Stick around. Okay, 250 to 500 a session, totally. So here's what Niche Style Academy is. The first part of it is the Niche Style Scrum process. And this entire process is where you chunk down what you have to do in 90-day segments. We create a specific game plan. We actually use Post-it notes. We step it out so we then on a weekly basis, we chunk down, here's what we're going to do this week. If you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 30-minute sessions, you'll know, remember, sound effects. Oh, there's my sticky note. Right? You'll know exactly what you need to do. You need to know, remember, peak performance, you need to know the specific step by steps. Michael makes a great point. It's not the money, it's the time wasted. You're absolutely right. It is such a big deal. So let's figure out. Now, of course, we can't all do this step by step because guess what? You're all at different parts. You're all at different steps of the journey. It needs to be customized for you. Now, I've been a huge advocate of Kanban and the Kanban board and the incredible agile approaches. What's so exciting, and I do this process myself with my own coach, because I have a coach, right? But I pay $25,000 a year. And bluntly, I'd pay $50,000. I hope he's not listening, but I would, right? Because it's brilliant, because I know step by step what I need to do. It got me out of my slump, out of my hole. And I just realized how important that is. So the first part of this process is literally, so every week, here's specifically the times I have available to put together the steps. Here's the time that I have available. Here's the things I have to do. Here's the elements. That is what is necessary. And there's no question that, if we were to do that, that's easily, you guys said yourself, just doing that on a weekly basis is a $7,500 process. And that's what it costs today, right? There's no question about that. But then, here's the thing. The next thing that we have to do is we have to have an engage hour every single week. Why? What's this engage? This engage hour is really powerful. We talk about your wins, but most importantly, we ask the simple question, what do you need right now? And then we get down and together as a group, we work on everybody's needs. And I speak to you individually, one-on-one. It's an amazing process. I do this with my own coach, and it's the best because here's the thing. It's so fascinating because it's so targeted and focused as a session. It's awesome. You don't feel like you're wasting your time, but more importantly, you come out of it and you know exactly what you need to do. You are reorientated. And let me show you in one of my, now, I've got to say right now, you may be intimidated by the level of artwork that I can produce. And you might think, oh my goodness, there's no way I can possibly do anything because look at the skills Ed has, right? So I'm just warning you, don't be intimidated by my charts. Here's my chart. Yes, yeah. Gifted. That's what we call it. Special, I think, is another way of calling it. But here it is, the power of course correction. If you look at this bottom line, the red line. Now, here's the thing. If we're starting out at 0 and we want to get to that goal line in the middle of the page, and our dollars, whether it be $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and we have a look at a spectrum of time. So the longer that horizontal line is time, right? Here's the thing. If we didn't meet on a weekly basis, what happens, right? You might go for 2 months or 3 months on one. Hang on, can I, go back. So I'm talking about this line here, right? You might spend 3 months before you hit this plateau, and then you start going backwards and you have no clue because you don't have a coach. It's like a violinist trying to learn arpeggios and doesn't have, one simple tweak from a coach that takes 2 minutes of description could be the difference. What happens if you're checking in on a weekly basis? This happens, right? Yeah, sure. You go backwards for a little bit, but you check in. You get corrected by your coach. You go back, and then the next week you get corrected again, and you go by your coach, and you get corrected again, and you have your squad, and you say to your squad, oh, I'm having trouble with this. And then a member of your squad says, oh yeah, I tried this and it worked. And you try it and it works. And you get to your goal faster. Does that make sense? That is what the Engage Hour is all about. I have run some of the most successful membership programs in internet history. The Underachievers, the Overachievers project, the Immediate Edge project, and they were all famous for their incredible libraries of materials. And here's what I realized. It was one of the worst things I could have done to you. Because if you've got a world of everything, where do you start? Where do you look? You spend all your time looking and consuming materials. You need prescriptions, not libraries. You need, here, take this pill, fixes the problem. Right? That's what you need right now. When you're starting out, you go to your teacher and you say, Coach, I'm just really having trouble catching the ball. And he says, okay, here's this drill. Do this drill and come back, practice it for the week and then come back and let's see how you're going. Oh, wow, Coach, that worked. Or Coach, that didn't work. Okay, try this drill. Do you see where I'm going? This is what you need. You need prescriptions. You don't need libraries of information. It's no good to you. It doesn't help. And I am so guilty of doing this to you. I realize that that's not what you need. Little chunks of information that you can digest, implement like a drill at footy practice so that you can improve. And you're constantly, remember our chart, constantly making, yeah, sure, you're going backwards. Sure, we have downs, but they're corrected quickly because you've got a coach, you've got a squad. That's what we're after. What's the worst case scenario? You're down the rabbit hole for a week, but you come to Engage Hour and you get reorientated and you're back on track, back on path. Now, there's no question. I charge $10,000 for my one-on-one clients to do exactly this, right? So there's no question about the value that's involved there. Then, I love, personally, I think this right here is my favorite. And you're going to think, what, for a second? But this implementation hour is crucial because it's going to teach you how to work. And I think this is really cool. Guess what? A couple of different times, and I should say all of these sessions happen at different times. So we're a global squad. So, we have UK friendly times, Europe friendly times, we have Aussie, Asia Pacific friendly times, and US friendly times. So we often do multiples of these. But here's the deal, right? If you do this, this implementation hour, right, then we actually sit down, we all discuss, I take you through a little 5-minute exercise. What are you going to work on? What does done look like? What's the objective of this session? Have you got all your tools ready? We're going to do that. Then I'm going to set the timer for 50 minutes on the iPad, and boom, there we go. Right there, we're going to work. And I'm going to work too. Right? For 50 minutes, we're going to work. I'm so excited about this. I got the idea from some screenwriting mates who literally do this. They'll all jump on Skype together and they'll say, right, we're going to write a scene and we're going to do it for 50 minutes. They don't talk, they work. But here's the thing, the discipline of showing up for an hour, think about this. When you were learning, think you might be back as a kid. If you were learning martial arts, if you were learning you had specific times you had to turn up to the dojo or to the tennis courts or to the swimming pool or to the wherever. Specific times to do this. That's what you need. You need specific times. You need specific times to do that. You need times to show up, particularly when you're a beginner. Particularly when you're starting out. It makes no sense. This is why I hear that. That's me forehead slapping. Because it's just so obvious and yet has been so neglected, right? So neglected. So, this is what we're going to do. Have you ever had a week, by the way, where, life's got in the way and you've dropped the ball on, because many of you here have already started an online business or in the process, and you've started something and you've bought the course and you've been on your way, then life happens, something, happens to you, and you've dropped the ball and it's never gotten picked up again. Just let me know in the chat box. If you ever had a week like that, which has completely disrupted you, let me know in the chat. And sort of a course which was going well, all of a sudden gone, and you haven't picked it up again. Story of my life. Yes, often. Yes, yep, many. Right, that's right. But here's the deal. Even I've had a year. That's just about every time, Scotty. Hey, Scott. Right? Here's the deal, right? If you know that you can, this is the power of showing up for 50 minutes of work. Because here's the thing, here's the trick, right? Here's what I'm tricking you. Because I know if you can at least turn up for one 50-minute session a week, where you're actually working, where you're actually moving forward, after 52 weeks, you will have had 52 steps forward. Think about this for a second. Think about, and this is the beginning, we're so focused on experts, we're so focused on high performance, we're so focused on $200,000 months and $1 million weeks and days, Here's the thing. When you're a beginner, if you started out, how much better are you? Think back to your childhoods when you were learning an instrument and you stuck at it for a year. And you just went to one lesson a year. You went to martial arts for 1 year. You went surfing for 1 year. You did tennis lessons for 1 year. How much better were you in percentage terms than when you started? You were probably competing in tennis tournaments. You might have been in a martial arts tournament. You would have been doing your first exams in a violin. Do you see this? And because coaching has been priced out of existence, then you haven't been able to have the benefit of this. So it's just this incredible cycle of starting again. It's terrible. Now, even if I charge $49 an hour to sit and work with you like that, then that over 52 weeks is, I believe my math is correct, $2,548. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, that's not all. We need a place for the squad to gather. And there's definitely, so we've got a private Facebook group. Now, here's the deal. There are good groups and there are bad groups. Okay, I bet you've all been in good Facebook groups and bad Facebook groups. Right? Now, here's the deal, right? I have taken an in-depth study of groups and there are some amazing groups. And as part of our squad training, we are going to be using a group here that's going to help you and support you and make things. You remember the San Francisco story about the fluke of all of us in a room together? That's what we're going to have, because you've heard me say this a million times. Online business in 2017 is a team sport. You know what? when you're starting out, I got that completely wrong. I can't believe I did. It's not a team sport, it's a squad sport. You need a squad. You need the support mechanisms. You know, you can earn $1,000 a month by yourself and need no extra support, right? You can do that. Now, yes, you'll probably want to go and use some Fiverr. You want to use some other things. You might need a ClickFunnels or something like that. But the reality is that, if you can dedicate, 5 1-hour sessions a week, even less, right, you can move your business forward. It's not about team in your first year. It's about squad in your first year. And that was such a crucial thing that I figured out. So again, what's the going rate for Facebook groups? I did a look around. It's your 997s and all of those sorts of things. Now, it is important that you do have your fundamentals. And I've spent, and a lot of you have probably seen, I know quite a few of you here on the webinar, I created the First Dollar Process, wrote the book, and that book was all about the fundamentals, understanding your entrepreneurial operating system, understanding Kanban, the organizational system and productivity system for people who can't stick to productivity systems. There's a whole bunch of people, when I mentioned it the first time, said on this webinar how awesome it is. You need these fundamentals. So you'll instantly get access to these workshops. So you'll get all of these. And yes, including the Facebook lead gen is incredibly valuable. All of those things are important. But here's the deal. It's just what you need. No more, no less. And I will update it as we go, right? And this is because, how many times have you been buried under content and confused, right? If you get this, it becomes intimidating. And when you're intimidated, guess what happens? You're uncertain. And when you're uncertain, all of a sudden, watching Housewives of Atlanta seems like a much better idea. Your brain just wants you to be happy. Your brain just wants, you to be comfortable. But perhaps the best thing, and my private clients who've paid 10 grand, often joke that they made the 10 grand back in me saving them on courses, because I'll be able to say, look, that course is just not right for you at the time. I'll tell you, some courses are fantastic, right? But some courses are, just the opposite of fantastic. How much am I going to save you, right, over the course of our 12 months together? I'll guarantee that I'll probably save you as much as this whole thing costs. Now, the core workshop, it's literally available online right now. It is $497. It makes total sense. Now, there is one thing that I will do, is just-in-time training. What do I mean by that? 12 times a year, I'll release a core training based on what you need. And I do this because how many high quick starts have we got in the house tonight? What I mean by that is you are an awesome entrepreneur, but you also have squirrel syndrome. Oh, look, there's a new course. Squirrel. Oh, new course. Squirrel. New course. Oh, squirrel. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Squirrel. Oh, does that sound like a few of you? Kamala says, 5,286 times. I want you to avoid FOMO doing this, right? Fear of missing out is what it stands for. Apparently this is what the kids, with the kids. So here's what we do. At the start of the month, I say, okay, folks, what do you want to learn? What's the hot technique that you're all getting hot and bothered about? And guess what I'll do? Because I have trained, somebody's got a squirrel emoticon in the chat. You ripper. That's awesome. Right? Because of, I've taught all these people. So I'll get in the person that is the best. Or if I believe I can teach it to you, I will teach you that methodology so that you're not missing out on stuff, right? That is absolutely key. So, I want to do that. You say we get just in time. You get to vote. It is just in time, so you don't get stressed. But let's think about this. What happens when if you don't know what to do with the academy, right? For a start, you've got the Facebook group. That's the quickest. So you can go and ask your fellow squad members what's going on. I will be in there, by the way, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. This is going to be my day job, folks. And I don't mean that as a condescending way. This is what I want to do. right? This is what I want to make it all happen. Then you've got your engage session, so we can workshop it together on a weekly basis. Then you can make a just-in-time training suggestion, and I can give you a prescription, right? I have stacks of training material. I'm just not going to let you wade in it. I just want to say, oh, you're having a problem with, Facebook lead gen? Okay, no worries. Here's the training I did on Facebook lead gen. Here's the 10-minute video which will get you up to speed. Well, that's what you need. You don't need a library where you have to go through it and wade through it. It doesn't make any sense. So if we look at the just-in-time training, $297, $3,564. I think that's a very reasonable amount. Now, here's the thing. I am not even going to charge you close to this. If you were guaranteed, $22,000, being realistic, if you were guaranteed for a second, just through this thought experience, if you knew you were going to make $120,000 by the end of the year, 2017, if you were going to have $10,000 a month plus coming in every month religiously, would it be worth $22,000? Just hypothetically speaking, as an investment, does that make sense? Just let me know while I have a drink of water here in the chat. Absolutely. Yep. Yes. Totally. Right? Yeah, it does, which is very good. So, at this point I had two choices, right? I could continue like my brethren, a lot of my colleagues, and they're nice people, right? But they won't deal with you. Like my coach, you have to be earning $30,000 a month before he'll even consider it, right? That is just the nature of it. Yeah, that is the nature of it, right? I could go the high price route and deal with less people, or I could realize what my mission in life was, and realizing that the pride of being dumped and being made bankrupt meant, and what do I enjoy more, is working with you guys, right? And getting you to the point where you're making your $10,000 a month, or that you're working 20 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week. Though that's my sweet spot. That's what I want to do. So if you knew for certain, as I said, it costs 22 grand, right? That is what? Yes, you're absolutely right, Ben. Now, I do charge $10,000 for one-on-one consult, but I'm not going to do, like I've got my current one-on-one clients that I'm working with right now. I will never do that again, right? Because frankly, this group approach is far superior. You will get better results with a squad and with a guided coach than you will with a one-on-one coach and no squad. The science is in. Anders Ericsson proved it, that is the case. And my coaching group, which teach coaches how to be coaches, I'm a lightweight, right? These are people who are making a couple of $100 grand, $300 grand, $400 grand a month. Anne-Marie saying, I can't do $10,000. You're absolutely right, Anne-Marie. It makes no sense, right? We're starting out. $10,000 is crazy. So when I release this to the public, it's going to be $3,997, right? I think that is absolutely a price that makes absolute sense. And if you look at how much I pay in violin lessons a year for my daughter, it's more than that, right? So, it makes sense. But here's the thing. You guys know how I work, right? I had found a program for Immediate Edge, found a program for underachievers and overachievers, found a program for Magcast. So for today, for 12 months, I'm going to make this available for $1,997. So if you want to pay up front, you get 12 months of coaching just like I described to you for $1,997. You save literally $1,000 paying up front, but I want to make sure this is achievable, right? I want to make absolutely sure this is achievable. You can also do it in 10 payments of $297 US. Okay, so you can pay $1,997 US up front, and have $1,000 saving, or you can do 10 payments of $297 a month, and that will, that And that's a 12-month program, right? This is not a monthly membership thing. This is a 12-month program. It's very important for you to understand that. We've got very specific goals. We work in 90-day increments. Yeah, Cheltenham Ladies College in the UK, violin is £247 per 40 minutes. You're exactly right. Okay, so to me, this is what I want to do, and that's why I've always just been thrilled with people who have started out. Like if I think about the first Magcasters, the first challenges, look how successful. Of the 27 people who did the first challenge, 18 of them created $1 million businesses, right? It's phenomenal. I want to work with people who are starting, and I so appreciate people who are prepared to put their hand up straight away. I want to work with you to do that. You know, there are two choices here. You know, you can keep going the same way you're going and see how that goes, or you can just take a leap of faith and just test out and see if it works for you. Because guess what? There is a 30-day guarantee. All right, so that is, you can check it out for 30 days, and if this is not your cup of tea, for whatever reason, just let me know, and we'll absolutely refund. I don't want people to be stuck in here. This is something I think a squad and having a coach where you can be weekly course corrected is the key. It is the missing link, and I want to make this available for you. I also want to do something else for you guys. Okay, I want to make sure that think about this. It's not it's not even gambling, right? $297. You can check it out, or if you're sold and you want to work with me for the next 12 months. $1,997. People pay $10,000, and this, I guarantee you, will be more effective because a squad is more effective than one-on-one. Absolutely incontrovertible proof, right? I've proven it myself. Anders Ericsson did all the scientific studies, and my coach of coaches also knows that this is the absolute case. The real question is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to check it out? Because even if it does half of what I've claimed today, it'll pay for itself in a couple of months, right? This is the thing. You get the scrum, right? So you know exactly what you're doing and when you need to do it. Imagine the feeling of certainty you have that. You get the Engage Hour, weekly course correction, right? Which you can come to. You've got the Implementation Hour where we're sitting down and working together once a week. Well, I'll be doing it a couple of times a week, 3 times a week probably to cater for all the time zones. And you can join and you'll get forward momentum, because I know if I can trick you into coming to each of those implementation hours, I know you're going to be successful. You'll be way ahead of the game. We've got the Facebook group, we've got the core workshop, and we've got the just-in-time training. But I want to make this even more exciting for you. For the 10 people that sign up first, I am going to give you unlimited emergency calls. Okay, I'm going to give you my mobile, and you can message me. And if you've got an emergency and you need to jump on that emergency, then that's cool, right? You do that. So the first 10 that sign up today are going to get emergency one-on-one calls. Don't care how many. But I just want you to have that level of certainty that if bluntly, the shit hits the fan, you're going to be able to reach me and we're going to be able to work through the problem together. Okay, so that is for the first 10, and you can see there's a fancy dancy timer there that if you sign up in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to get you on Voxer. Voxer is awesome. I don't know if you guys have come across Voxer. It's the cool thing that all the cool kids and all the cool coaches are using. It's very hard to describe, but it is just a game changer in asynchronous voice communication. What the hell does that mean? What it means is that you can just, because I sleep, right? You can leave me a voice message and I can return a voice message. It's brilliant. Alan is in. Brilliant. I'm so glad. Now, okay. I've got a couple of people said, card, I just had a problem with the card or something like that. Just let me know. Oh, J-Lo, you're in. That is so exciting. Hey, here's the deal, right? It's just let me know in the chat if you because I do not want you to freak out, type a poor number and miss out, right? So just do that. You can see the button. Just click the Let's Do This button on the webinar. Oh, by the way, and J-Lo knows this as well. There's a live. You get a live workshop credit to your Patricia's in. That's awesome, Patricia. I'm thrilled. Here's the deal. I do live workshops and I love them, even in New Zealand. And as part of this, you get a credit up to the value of your membership each year, right? So if you sign up for the $1,997, then when I do a webinar, you can apply that entire live workshop. You can apply that entire value as a credit to the workshop. Now, most of the workshops I do are under that. So you basically, what it means is you can come for free to all of those workshops. But I do expensive workshops too. So you can use that as a credit because you're a member of the squad. I'm your coach. No worries, Helen. Figure it out. And don't worry, I'll hold you a spot. That's fine. And Lucy, you are in. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. This is just wonderful. Now, the actual link to the order form, a couple of you have asked, is make.yourfirstdollar.com/NSA. Love that the Niche Style Academy initials are NSA. That just tickles my fancy bone. NSA Founder. That is so you can do that. Make.yourfirstdollar.com/NSA Founder. Now, there's a couple of things on this. There's a couple of questions I've got. Is this for newbies? Yes, it is for newbies. Here's the thing. There are 3 people this is for, and there's 1 group of people that this is not for. The people that this are for are people who are starting out. It is for people who want to get to $10,000, right? It is also for people who are already on the way and getting there, and they're ready to take that next level. And it's for people who've got 10,000 already making their $10,000, but they want to optimize, right? They want to go to the next level. They want to go to the next order of magnitude, but they don't want to double their working hours to do it. That's for the 3 people who are for. If you are a hustler, and if you bless you, by the way, it's awesome that you're there and you're a millennial working 24/7 without any commitments, probably not for you. And if you're building the next unicorn, probably not for you either. So that is the thing. Mary asked, how you handle all the different levels we're at, because each person does their own coaching plan, right? So every person has a completely individual plan. But here's the thing, right? The things that the fundamentals work with. Jonathan's in. I'm so pleased. That's awesome. The people, and Rick says, is it okay if my business partner participates with me? Yes, that is totally cool. No problemo. That makes total sense as well. So, there's I should show you this too. This is the order form. And so you can see there that you've got the 1,997. Cara, you are there, and Hillary, that is awesome. $1,997 is the upfront price. You can save $1,000 doing it that way. Or if you want to pay in installments, which is totally cool, it's 10 payments of $297. So you can get started and check it out for $297 as well. So that is sweet. Now, questions, folks. Questions that I've had. You might notice on the chat box, there is a little, you can mark your chat as a question. That is a way of doing all of this. So that is brilliant. Oh, Lucy's asked a question. Can I change from payment plan if I want to? Yes, you absolutely can. Now, hang on, just back here on. So here's how you do that. I've actually had a couple of people do that. That is fine. Just pay the full amount. Send me an email to ed@nichestyleacademy.com. That's ed@nichestyleacademy.com. By the way, if you've got any questions or ordering issues or anything, just let me Let me just type this in here for you, gang. ed@nichestyleacademy.com. Let me know and I'll refund you the $297, and I can do that straight away, literally after the call, and you'll have the full upfront. That is totally fine. Linda's asking, when does it start? We start next week. So we've got our induction ceremony. Think of it like Hogwarts sorting hat, but bluntly not as cool as that, because that would be awesome. Paul, you are set. That is no problems. You are there, which is fantastic. So questions about anything to do with peak performance in terms of the program, let me know. That's thing. Arthur says, yes, please, Arthur. That's lovely. If you could send me an email just to that ed@nichestyleacademy.com. And let's talk. Love to have a look at that. Totally thrilled with doing that. Another question. Just another question in here. Yes, all of these things will be scheduled, so you'll know. It's a bit like It's like isn't it crazy? Here's the realization, right? Here's the realization that when you think about anything that you're learning. Right? If you think about anything that you're doing, anything that you're learning, Reed says, will you set the squads up according to Colby? That would be a very, very cool idea. I'm very tempted about that, actually, Reed. That would be funny. Maybe I could do that. I'd call them, we could have our Urso, our Scully, our Ray, and Yoda squads based on the 4 different things. I haven't thought about that, but that would be fun, right? That would be a super fun thing to do. But we're having inductions next week, and then it's all about figuring out, because individually, right? You're going to have individual game plans, right? So everybody's different, and it's individual game plan. Here's the thing, though: the fundamentals are the same. And think about it. My daughter does Aikido. And in Aikido, they have everybody from white belts to black belts in the same class. Why? Why do they do that? Why do they do that in squads? Because that's how you learn. And guess what? The black belts and the brown belts are senpais. Okay, so there's sensei, who is the thing. Linda's just saying, I'll come back to that. Linda, no worries. And Cheryl, no worries. You sort it out and come back. I'll make sure you looked after. So that is important. By the way, I've had a couple of people on here, and I should really acknowledge this, that even $297 is out of their reach at the moment. For you guys, your first dollar. My new book, yourfirstdollar.com. It's available on the website. It's free. And if you need to build up from $50 to $297, that is the start that you need. Now, back to my students analogy. Right, so the sensei is the teacher. The senpai are the students that teach the other students. And guess what? By teaching, you learn better. Right? You become more effective brown belt or black belt by teaching. Again, science. Stephen Covey talked about it in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Andres Ericsson, I highlighted it as the people who are the most effective in a orchestra are the people who share their knowledge in the orchestra. Awesome, Helen. I'm so thrilled you're here. That is brilliant. And so that is a key part of the process. I want to get you guys involved in the academy. So that's where having a really high functioning Facebook group is where somebody will come on and say, hey gang, I'm looking to record a podcast. What microphones do you guys use? And have people jump in and say, here's what I use. That is really, really important. And it makes so much sense to do. Paul says, I have a promotional products company. Can this course help that as well as open other doors? Okay, first, it's not a course, right? But you do get a course as part of it. You get all the fundamentals. And yes, to answer your question, this works for real life companies. It works for online business companies because the fundamentals are the fundamentals. And what you need is course correction. And dare I say it, I'm pretty bloody good at doing that, right? So, this is my sweet spot. You think of the internet guru, Jonathan, you are done. You are absolutely no problemo. You are there. So, this is my sweet spot. This is what I love to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not kidding. I'm not doing anything else. No more courses except for the just-in-time courses that I'm doing for you guys. No more big products and services. None of that, right? None of that, because this is what I want to do, right? I realized, and sometimes it takes for you to be really sat on your ass for a realization like this to happen. This is where I'm at. This is what I should be doing. The poor old challenge has at times been the poor old red-headed stepchild being ignored in the corner. And it's not. It's what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. And I want to make you successful. I want to be your coach and make you successful. This is the right thing for me to be doing. And working with you. And I'll happily hand you off to, when you get successful, super successful, I'll hand you off to people who can take you to another level again. Right? That's where this is my sweet spot. And that's why I want to help you guys. Yes, I did get a reminder to record, and I have recorded, so I think we're good. Paul, no worries, that is fine. Just let me know. Again, if you're having a little credit card issue or anything like that, just keep me up to date with ed@nichestyleacademy.com. That's ed@nichestyleacademy.com. And be thrilled to make sure you are looked after. Any other questions? Got any other areas? Anything about the training or anything else that you guys want to know? I think we're pretty darn good here. All right, that's brilliant. For those of you who signed up, and it looks like quite a few, which is awesome. Thank you so much. I can't wait to be working with you. It's brilliant. Lucy's asking, do you know what days next week? I sure do. It is, depending where you're on the planet, Tuesday and Wednesday. Mirren, that's no problem. You let me know. Just get it fixed up and we'll sort that out. That's no problemo. So any questions, ed@yourfirstdollar.com. Okay, wrong program. Sorry. ed@nichestyleacademy.com. Okay, if you've got any questions. Thanks, gang. It's been awesome. I hope that you had the same forehead slapping insights that I had. And, remember, what do you got to lose, right? Let's test this thing out together and let's make it happen. All right, gang. We'll speak soon.